We were so excited about being a 2012 Code for America city that we actually started planning in 2011. We worked with the founders of City Camp, and we held a City Camp in December. And we worked with local government folks and community folks, and we collaborated on what kind of technologies would they like to see working, making it easier to work with within community and within government. And we were able to have Bob and Alyssa from Code for America come out and help us out with that. In December, we held a city-sponsored hackathon. And then the CIO, Gordon Bruce, and I did a full media blitz, hitting all the local media channels, and we had a ton of support from Burt Lum and Hawaii Public Radio. And we were also really honored to have our Mayor Peter Carlisle, who was really strong supporter of what we were doing, and this whole platform was based on greater transparency in Honolulu. Internally, Gordon and I also spent a lot of time working with the deputies and the directors from the various agencies within the city and county, and we collected a ton of data on their pain points and what they would like to see come out of the engagement. And Bert and I did the same externally, hitting different community groups. And it wasn't just techies. We really wanted to go out and get a broad base of folks from the Hawaiian community, from the kind of Govy community, from the local startup community. And I noticed also when I was out here last year that a lot of the projects were written in open source, primarily Ruby on Rails. So when I went back to Honolulu, I started a training program with our DIT staff. And we went through 3 or 4 training sessions on Ruby on Rails, and we even have a GitHub account with some homegrown apps and our Code for America apps. But I think one of the critical steps that we made was we actually planned out the first 2 weeks of meetings for our fellows before they got on site, both internally in government and externally with the community. And so with all the data that we had collected from City Camp, from the hackathon, from meeting with various department heads, they really had a wealth of information, and they were able to hit the ground running as soon as they landed in Honolulu. And to kind of stoke the fire midway through their residency, Jen and Tim came out and helped us with a couple community events. But I think hands down the most important thing that we did was try and raise a level of cultural awareness with our fellows. Hawaii is a unique place. We still suffer from the effects of colonialism, and we're not that far removed from our Hawaiian monarchy being illegally overthrown by the United States. So people tend to take outsiders with a kind of a grain of salt, and especially if they're working with government. They're a little bit hesitant to work with you. And so we wanted to make sure that our fellows really had an understanding of Hawaii history, of the culture. And so the first thing that we did was teach them how to give a proper shaka. First things first. And this was actually at our press conference. That's our mayor in the middle giving the shaka. It was pretty fun. But actually on the first day, what we really did was we had no meetings. We didn't meet with anybody. We went and did a cultural excursion. So first we hit Ulupo Hei'ao, which is a traditional location for practicing Hawaiian religion. Next we hit Kawainui Marsh, which is a historic site. It one time was a huge fish pond, which sustained the food supply for a lot of Native Hawaiians in Windward Oahu. And finally, we spent about a half day at the Bishop Museum, just again learning more about the history and the culture of Hawaii. So next, I'd like to bring up Mick Thompson, one of our great Code for America fellows, to go through some of the great projects we worked on.
Thanks, Forrest. You know, I need to begin by really saying the reason why we had any success in Honolulu is because we had awesome city partners. We had a great staff inside of City Hall that worked with us, and the community there really rallied around us, and they supported us in many ways. Also, I'm going to use the phrase "we" a lot in this talk. I'm going to run through some things pretty quickly, but I wanted to kind of disambiguate that a little bit. It's not just the 3 fellows in Honolulu. There's actually so many people behind this. There's more people back at Code for America, staff and other fellows. There's Forrest, Gordon, Bert, who are here today, our city partners. There's the staff, as I said, in the city, and really the community in general. So really, this is all of our efforts. I want to start with a story that takes us back to 2011. And if you know about Code for America, which I assume you do because you're here, you know about Adopt a Hydrant. It's one of our most popular stories because it's a story of reuse and actually getting governments to work together. So this has been reused. It started in Boston, it moved to Chicago as Adopt a Sidewalk, and we were able to bring it to Honolulu as Adopt a Siren. Now, these warning sirens in Honolulu, they're for tsunamis, for really any emergency. They're the first line of defense, so it's very important that they're working. And so we send out a message every month around the test and ask people, did you hear it or not, to those that adopted it. And actually those messages should be going out in about 5 minutes from now. So we'll be getting those reports back probably while I speak. So really successful project. In fact, one user actually tweeted a YouTube link to what he recorded of the siren. Now, I like you all, so I'm not going to play it for you. But trust me, it's loud and clear. Another problem in Honolulu is traffic. They have one of the worst commutes, in fact, ranked just behind LA. So combining a little bit of data that was available, we created Route View. Route View takes a Google map with their transit layer already on there, and then just shows the city traffic cameras along that route. So you can use that to better plan where you're going, if you should reroute, or if that route will be okay. Another thing that we heard a lot about during city residency was the city's website. It was a little hard to navigate, hard for citizens to find answers to their questions. So we started digging into the data and see what people were searching for, how they were finding it, and how we could make that better. We came up with Honolulu Answers. Honolulu Answers is a very simple, straightforward, easy-to-use search portal that allows you to ask a question about city government just like you would ask a neighbor. You can say something like, how do I renew my driver's license? And get the first 5 steps of doing that. Much simpler, much easier to navigate. Now, of course, throughout the process of working with the city, we opened up data sets as we use them in our apps. So we put that all up on the newly launched data.honolulu.gov in cooperation with the city. And we also got other departments to contribute data to that. Really exciting to see some of the developers in the community start building applications on that as early as a few weeks afterwards. But you know, it's really about more than the apps and the data. We saw changes in the city of actually having the community collaborate with city staff. In fact, one of our events that will be talked about tomorrow, the Honolulu Ride-a-thon, really highlights how citizens and staff took a day to come together and solve problems in their city. So Tim O'Reilly, who I think is here, said government is what we do together that we can't do alone. And I'm a hacker, so I'm going to hack this a little bit and change it to government is when we unite to move forward. Tim, Hawaiian style. And with that, I'll bring it back to Forrest.
So as you can see, I think because of a lot of the planning that we did, we were able to do a broad range of projects in Honolulu. And so as our voyage continues, it's not without some challenges. At the end of the year, there will be a new administration coming into the city, into City Hall, and the chances are that Gordon and I will not be retained. But I think we've done enough to raise the bar just enough that people are starting to pay attention. We formed a local brigade, and people now can see what happens when government and community collaborate. And so we'll be watching, the brigade will be watching, the community will be watching, and see what happens with this momentum and these tools that were created as we've moved forward into the next year. A'oe hana nui ka ula ia. No task is too big when done together. United we stand, divided we fall. Mahalo.